Hello, Team Hershey. Today we will be performing a pre-trip inspection. The first section of our inspection form gives us an overview of what we will be covering. For example, in this inspection we will be inspecting the following: engine, transmission, lighting devices and reflectors, wheels and tires, decals and stickers, windshield and wipers, rear view mirrors, and service brakes. In section number 1, we will be checking the oil, air filter, and the coolant reservoir. We will start by locating the engine oil dipstick, normally yellow on our vehicles. When checking the engine oil level, the dipstick has 2 reference points. Make sure the oil is in between the 2 points. Here is an example of the correct oil level. The next thing we will inspect is the air filter. Start by locating the air filter box. The 2 main things to check when inspecting the filter is the service date and the condition of the elements. A filter should never be older than 6 months since the service date or have too many pollutants and contaminants. The last thing we will inspect in section 1 is the coolant. The coolant expansion tank has 2 reference points. It has a high and a low level. The coolant level should always be in between those 2 points. In section 2, we will be inspecting the transmission oil level. In some of our vehicles, the transmission oil dipstick is not visible, in which case you can ask the Hershey shop for assistance. Start by locating the transmission dipstick normally to the right side of the engine oil dipstick. The transmission oil level has to be checked once the transmission is at its normal operating temperature and the vehicle is stationary. The transmission has 2 reference points. The oil should always be in between the 2 points. If you look closely at the transmission dipstick, you'll notice that there's also a cold reading on the dipstick. It is not recommended to check the transmission cold because it can give inaccurate readings. Section 3 of the inspection asks us to inspect all lighting devices and reflectors. We're going to inspect the front headlights, fog lights, and rear tail lights. Begin by turning on all lights. We'll start with the passenger front headlight and fog light. We'll want to make sure all lights are visible and free of damage. Next, we'll check the driver's side. Then we'll check the rear driver's side. We'll finish with the rear passenger side. Section 4 of our inspection asks us to check the tires and wheels. We will be using the penny method to check the tire tread depth. Here's an example of tires with a lot of wear. You can still see Abe's head, which means the tires have less than 30 seconds left. The tires are not safe for road use. Here's an example of tires with plenty of life left. If you look closely, you'll see that you can no longer see Abe's head. This means the tires have over 30 seconds left. These tires are safe for road use. In section 5 of the inspection, we will be looking at the decals on the truck. We will want to make sure there's no damages to the decals. We will start by inspecting the engine hood. Then we will inspect the driver's side of the vehicle, making sure all letters and markings are visible and legible. Next, we'll check the rear tailgate. Lastly, we'll check the passenger side of the vehicle. In section 6, we will check the windshield wipers and windshield washers. When checking the windshield washer systems, make sure the wiper blades and fluids clearly clean the windshield and leave no streaks behind. Also make sure there's no rubbers hanging off the wipers. In section 7 of our inspection, we will be inspecting the rear view mirrors. We'll start by checking the driver's side mirror. Make sure there's no cracks or visible damage to the mirror. Next, we'll check the passenger side mirror. Lastly, we'll check the rear view mirror inside the cabin. The last item we will be inspecting will be the service brake functionality in section 8. Start by actuating the service brake, making sure it engages and disengages with no problems or error codes. The last 3 sections of the inspection will ask you to provide an overall condition of the vehicle, followed by your signature. Team, we've reached the end of our inspection. Make sure we're completing our inspections every day. Be proactive with equipment damages and repairs. Safety inspections can help our team prevent accidents and hazards.